Hello, my luminous souls. Tonight, I welcome you into a sacred space where time slows, the veil thins, and the moon, in all her ancient wisdom, reaches her most potent bloom. This is not just another full moon. This, beloved, is the gateway, a 72-hour cosmic corridor that stretches out before us like a river of pure frequency, and within it, the first 8 hours shimmer with a power so refined, so precise, it imprints your very thoughts, your deepest choices, into the blueprint of the next 6 months of your life. You may have felt it already, a rising hum beneath the surface, an inner pulling toward something unnamed but inevitable. That's not your imagination, that's the call. Because the moment this moon reaches peak illumination, something magnificent begins, a magnetic opening in the energetic fields of both earth and body, a tuning fork through which intention either becomes elevation or entrapment. And the truth is, you don't have to do anything loud or dramatic, but you do have to be present, you do have to be awake. This portal, wrapped in moonlight, doesn't demand perfection, it asks for precision. What you think, feel, speak, especially in those early hours, becomes a prayer, a program, a pulse that echoes far beyond the now. So I invite you to breathe with intention tonight, to listen with your inner ears, and to remember, this moon is not here to comfort, it is here to initiate. And if you're watching this, it's because your soul already knows it's time. This full moon is not simply a celestial event gracing the sky with silver light. No, my love, it is a threshold written into the map of your soul long before your first breath. A destined checkpoint nestled in the curvature of time, asking not whether you are ready, but whether you are willing. Because readiness is irrelevant in moments like these. The moon does not wait for your clarity, it reveals it. It doesn't ask for your permission, it simply arrives with hands full of truth and mirrors too honest to ignore. And here is the deeper truth, the one most try to outrun. If you do not rise to meet this energy, you will feel yourself pulled backwards, subtly, invisibly, relentlessly, into loops you swore you'd left behind. Old habits, familiar distractions, voices from your past wrapped in new disguises will start to reappear, not to comfort you, but to test you. This moon is not gentle, it is surgical. It slices away what cannot come with you. And if you are still clinging to what was, out of nostalgia, fear, or fatigue, this energy will feel like pressure, chaos, even collapse. But it is not destruction. It is realignment. And it comes not to punish, but to awaken. You are not being asked to be perfect. You are being asked to be honest, to admit, perhaps for the first time, that some versions of you have expired, that some roles you've played are no longer costumes that fit, that the longing in your chest is not confusion, it is direction. And if you choose to ignore it, the cycle begins again. But if you listen, truly listen, this full moon becomes a portal not just through time, but through identity. And on the other side, a life not built from fear or habit, but from alignment so deep it vibrates through your bones. And so, while your eyes may rise to meet the stillness of the night sky and feel soothed by its serenity, do not be lulled into forgetting what this moment truly is. For beneath the moon's soft radiance lies a labyrinth of energetic tests, so intricately designed they do not announce themselves with chaos, but with comfort. This is how the full moon deceives, by cloaking its initiations in peace. You may find yourself drawn to something that feels oddly familiar, a conversation you thought you had finished, a person you've outgrown who suddenly reappears with polished words and softer eyes, an opportunity that once drained you now dressed in new colors and subtle promises of maybe this time. But these are not gifts. These are examinations of your growth. This is the moon's sacred game, not to see if you've memorized the lessons, but to reveal if you've integrated them. Because true transformation is not about what you understand in stillness, but about how you respond when the past comes knocking, wearing a new outfit, speaking with a sweeter tongue, but still carrying the same weight. And if you're not anchored in truth, not clear in what you've outgrown, you may mistake regression for renewal, relapse for reunion. This is not punishment. This is precision. The universe, through this moon, is holding up a mirror, not of your potential, but of your patterns. And what you choose to engage with now will not simply shape your mood, but solidify your trajectory. So, when temptation whispers, whether it comes in the form of an old lover, a habitual thought, a numbing scroll, or a glittering opportunity that secretly drains your spirit, pause, breathe, ask not what feels comfortable, but what feels clean. This energy does not want you to suffer. It wants to know if you're ready, because you cannot rise into the next octave of your soul's path while still feeding the fragments that kept you small. And this full moon, cloaked in light, is the final invitation to release them for good. Somewhere within this luminous corridor, if you are quiet enough, still enough, honest enough, you will feel it. A moment that does not arrive with fanfare or thunder, but with the unmistakable clarity of truth, brushing against your consciousness like a whisper you can't unhear. It may come as a sudden image while you're washing your hands, a phrase that rises uninvited during a passing thought, or a feeling so visceral that it rearranges the entire architecture of your inner world in a heartbeat. This is the message. Not one sent to everyone, but one calibrated precisely to your frequency. It is not random. It is not vague. It is the sacred transmission your soul has been waiting to receive. And it will only land if your awareness is open to catch it. But here is the thing most will overlook. This message is not loud. It does not fight for your attention. It will not compete with your distractions, nor will it wait until you've finished scrolling, worrying, or doubting. It slips into the silence like morning mist, and if your mind is cluttered, if your heart is full of noise, it will pass through you unnoticed, leaving only the faint ache of something important you missed. That is why presence matters so deeply now, not because it's spiritual or poetic, but because without presence you are blind to the language of your own becoming. And this moon, in all her precision, is speaking not through signs in the sky, but through the still spaces within you. When it comes, when that insight cracks open your inner knowing, you will not need validation or explanation. You will simply know. And the knowing will feel less like something new and more like something ancient finally remembered. A truth buried under layers of denial and delay, now rising like breath returning to the body. Do not ignore it. Do not explain it away. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Let it take root. Because this message is not just insight, it is instruction. A key. A directional code for your next 6 months. And if you hold it with reverence, if you dare to act upon it, the path that once felt tangled and dark will begin to clear beneath your feet, not because the world changed, but because you finally aligned with what your soul already knew was waiting. But just as the message comes, so too does the resistance, and it is far more cunning than chaos. It doesn't arrive as a storm, nor does it shake you awake with fear. No, this kind of resistance is gentle. It will wrap itself in softness, in the allure of rest, in the seduction of just a little later. It will feel like choosing ease, like giving yourself space, but beneath it hides the most subtle sabotage of all. You will hear your mind whisper things like, "I'll journal tonight instead," or "I don't feel ready just yet," or even "maybe I made all of this up." And it will sound reasonable, even caring. That is precisely what makes it dangerous. Because in these exact hours, hesitation is not neutral, it is decisive. This is what most forget. Spiritual interference rarely comes as loud resistance. It comes as delay. It comes as softness that asks you to sleep through the moment your soul has been waiting lifetimes to meet. And if you fall into that fog, if you choose postponement over presence, you won't feel the consequences immediately. No thunder will crash, no door will slam. But 6 months from now, you may look back and wonder why the path feels blurry again, why clarity slipped through your hands like smoke. That's the cost of missing the moon's offering. It's not punishment, it's simply lost alignment. And alignment, once missed, takes effort and intention to reclaim. Because this full moon, beloved, is not symbolic, it is structural. It is an energetic contract written not on paper but into your very field. Every word you speak, every decision you make, especially the ones that seem insignificant, are signatures. You are either anchoring your evolution or renewing your stagnation. You are either choosing expansion or delay, and the moon, like an ancient scribe, is recording it all. So treat this time not as an aesthetic ritual or a poetic moment, but as a soul-level agreement. What you choose now becomes the framework of your future, and the universe, in its infinite precision, will respond not to your intentions, but to your actual choices. So I ask you, gently but truthfully, what are you saying yes to with your silence? What old loops are you subtly feeding with your indecision? Because the future is not built in one grand choice. It is built in the quiet ones, the whispered yeses, the casual maybes, the deferrals disguised as rest. This moon hears them all, and it builds accordingly. And as this energy deepens its reach, you may begin to feel what words cannot quite name, a strange sense of disconnection, a quiet ache that feels like standing between who you were and who you are becoming. It may come as loneliness that lingers even in the company of others, as confusion that clouds even the clearest plans, or as a dull sense of restlessness that no amount of distraction can soothe. You might ask yourself, why do I feel so far away from everything I thought I wanted? And the answer, beloved, is not that you are lost. It is that you are in between. You are shedding the versions of yourself that survived, coped, played roles, and stayed small to make others comfortable. And in the space where those parts used to live, you now stand naked before your own becoming. This feeling of isolation is not failure. It is the birth canal of your next truth, because the deeper you awaken, the fewer things resonate. You no longer crave the conversations that once thrilled you. You no longer find comfort in the habits that used to numb you. You begin to see things and people clearly, not through judgment, but through the lens of resonance. And what once felt like home may now feel hollow. That too is awakening, and it hurts. Not because something is wrong, but because your soul is finally demanding a life that matches its frequency. And clarity, in its rawest form, is not always beautiful. Sometimes it arrives as the stark recognition that what you've been tolerating is the very thing dimming your light. You may think the universe has abandoned you, that your guides have gone silent, that your inner voice has lost its volume, but in truth, the silence is sacred. It is the pause before the new chapter begins. It is the moment your higher self steps back, not to punish you, but to let you choose. To see if you will cling to the known or rise into the new. And rising, my dear, requires sacrifice. Not sacrifice of joy, but of illusion. Not suffering, but surrender. Because the light within you, the one you've been searching for in books, teachers, lovers, and rituals, only awakens when you are willing to sit with the truth of what you've been avoiding. It ignites when you finally look at the patterns that drain you, the choices that cage you, the fears that dress themselves up as logic and keep you walking in circles. There is no ascension without confrontation. There is no inner peace without first making peace with the pain. You must be willing to meet yourself where you are, not where you pretend to be. And when you do, when you stop running and start witnessing, something miraculous happens. The fog begins to clear, not all at once, but in small, sacred revelations that rise from the most ordinary moments. a glance, a breath, a truth spoken aloud in the quiet of your own room, that is when the light returns, not as a bolt of magic, but as the knowing that you are no longer afraid of your own shadow. And that, beloved, is the truest freedom. So as we stand beneath this sacred moonlight, bare, tender, and quietly becoming, let this be your reminder. You are not behind, you are not broken, and you are not lost. You are unfolding. You are dissolving the versions of yourself that were built for survival, not truth. And though it may feel disorienting now, trust that this unraveling is not your undoing. It is your returning. This full moon was never here to grant you comfort. It came to offer you clarity. And clarity, my love, is a gift that demands your presence. So choose with care, speak with intention, rest when your soul says rest, but do not delay when your soul whispers, now. Because everything you align with in this moment becomes the soil from which your next chapter will bloom. And if all you do is stay awake, truly awake, in the stillness of this night, then you have already passed the test. You have already said yes to a future that reflects who you truly are, not who you've had to be. So breathe, trust, let go, and remember, the moon is listening. Until next time, take gentle care of your frequency and walk forward as if the stars themselves are watching, because tonight they are.